Hi, Dakota here. I am going to show you how to crochet this Wavy shells blanket. This here is an example of just using two colors. I am going to be using technically six colors for the one I'll be showing you. A gray color that is mostly going to be the border, yellow, blue, pink, green, and purple will be the colors I will be using for the actual shells. The yarn I'm using is from Hobby Lobby. It's titled I Love This Yarn. The purple is called Mixed Berry. The green is called Limelight. The pink is called Hot Rose. The blue is called Peacock. And the yellow is simply named Yellow. The gray that I'm using is called Gray Beard, like a guy has a beard, you know. So those are the colors I'm using for this particular blanket. I used this yarn in my shell stitch blanket before, that the shells went around like a granny square, and I actually love this yarn. It's soft but yet strong. It's acrylic yarn, so I don't block my products, I guess you could call it, my finished products, when I use this particular yarn when they're big pieces like this. I don't find a difference between having it blocked and unblocked. Do not use an iron on this particular yarn because acrylic is essentially plastic and it will melt. You can wash it in the washing machine and dry it in a dryer. Just don't have your dryer on high heat, otherwise it can kind of mess up your yarn. So to get started, this foundation here is actually, we're looking at the purple. It starts out with chains and then a single crochet back this way, and then you actually start your shells. So the purple here is just the foundation, and I'm going to be using gray instead for this particular project, and then we'll start our shells. And the shells are one row this way and one row this way in one color, and that's how you kind of get that wavy effect. And then you change color and you do another 2 rows. And then when you're done, you can do borders however you want. So to get started, you need to do a chain in multiples of 7, and then you add 1 at the end. So I'm going to get the gray set up for the chain. So hold on just 1 second. Okay, I put my pillow down because the camera wants to focus on the carpet fibers and not on what I'm actually crocheting. So I hope this works and it's not too annoying of a background color. Okay, we are going to start with a slip knot to go onto our hook. So to do that, I take the yarn and I drape it over my index finger away from my body and bring it down and around, and I pinch it between my thumb and middle finger. Then I take the trailing yarn that is in this little triangle here and I pull it towards my right, so it goes still underneath the yarn, and then I bring it back up over my finger like I did with the other yarn. I bring it back towards my body and pinch it between my index finger, between my middle finger and thumb as well. And then I pinch the yarn that is closest to my hand, and I bring that over my finger, and then I let go, and I pull this tight, and that creates the loop. Stick my needle, my hook into that loop, and then I take the longer yarn that's connected to my yarn ball, and I pull that tight, and it creates the loop tight on the hook. Now to chain, you yarn over and you pull through the loop, and that's a simple chain. So we're doing multiples of 7, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's 4. Now I have to do quite a few multiples. So why don't you get to the length that you want, and I'll meet you there. Okay, I did 18 multiples of 7, and then I added 1. You add 1 because we are going to do a single crochet across, and that 1 is needed to get up and over to where you do your first single crochet. So I am going to use the back loops. You can kind of see here how I have this flat. See, this one here looks, this side looks like a braid, and you flip it over and you can see 3 loops here. I'm using this middle back rib that you can, let me see if you can, yeah, this back rib here, and I'm just going to be using that single loop. So I have my plus 1 loop here, and I'm going to find this first rib. So you skip this one here that you're in here, and I'm going to stick my loop underneath this one rib, get a yarn over and pull through that loop and the loop that was already on my hook, and that's my first single crochet. And then I'm finding the next rib and doing another single crochet, and I'm going to do that all the way across until I get to the end, and this will create my foundation and to do the shells on. It's a little bit harder to make sure you get that same loop each time, but it creates a very nice effect when you're done. And it creates an easier place to do a border once your blanket is finished with your shells. I'll be going back around with the same gray and doing a border all the way around the blanket, and having these 2 loops here, looking all nice and neat, makes it easier to do that border. So that's what your foundation chain, and then you do your foundation single crochet looks like. I will come back and finish once I'm closer to the end, since this is quite long. Okay, I have a few single crochets left to do. I'm still using the back rib, or back spine, if you want to call it that. I do find this method a lot slower, but I like the final result, so I find it the time worth it. Once I get to the end, I'm going to tie off, as I'll be done with the gray for now. I'm going to start with yellow for the shells. Okay, just a few more now. If you hear rattling in the background, it's my ceiling fan. Okay, that's the last one. Okay, I'm going to tie off by yarning over and pulling through. And then I'm going to take my scissors and snip. And then I pull this yarn through and I pull tight. So that is the foundation that I will use to create the shells on. So let's grab the yellow. And I am going to actually tie it to the gray piece here at the end. Okay. I'm going to stick my hook. Once I have it tied on, I have my yarn over my finger. I'm going to stick my hook underneath these two strands here, under the first, well, actually last single crochet there. I'm going to grab the yellow and pull through, and then I'm going to chain one. And now I'm going to turn this whole strand, and then still working in the same single crochet in the gray, I am going to put my hook back through, pull my yarn through, and then perform a single crochet there. And that becomes the first part of the shell, as this will tie it down to this end. Now we're going to skip 2 single crochets. Into the third one, we will perform 6 double crochets, all into the same spot. So if the yarn over, stick your hook in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And that's how you do the double crochet. So we're going to do 5 more of those in the same spot. So there's 1. Okay. We're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. That's 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to look at our gray and skip 1, 2, and then the third one over, we are going to do a single crochet. And that creates your first shell. And we're going to repeat this all the way across. So let's do a few more. We're going to skip 1, 2, and into the third, we will do 6 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Skip 1, 2, and into the third one over, do our single crochet. That's 2 shells complete. And we're going to skip 1, 2, and then the third one, we'll begin another shell, 6 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and skip 1, 2, and in the third we do single crochet. That's 3 shells. I'll do one more on camera for you. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to skip 1, 2, and in our third, do another single crochet. I'm going to pull this out a little so I can take my hook out. And now we have 4 shells, and you're going to do that all the way across until get all the way to the end. When I have a few left, I will start recording again. So see you in a second. Okay, I have 3 shells left to do here, and then you can actually see the rest of the foundation all in one shot. So let's continue here. I'm going to skip 1, 2, and then the third, do my shell. And you always want to make sure you go under both strands of the single crochet. As you can see here, there's 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 double crochets. Skip 1, 2, and then the third, do the single crochet. Sorry, I forgot to turn the fan off so you can hear me better. Okay, we're going to skip 1, 2, and then the third, we start our shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Skip 1, 2, and then the third, do our single crochet. Skip 1, 2, and in the third, we are doing our shell. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then in our last single crochet we do a single crochet. Sorry, I'm going out of frame a little bit. There we go. That was being difficult. We're going to do a single crochet to anchor our shell. And now we're going to go the other way. So we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to flip our work. And working all in the same single crochet here, we're going to do 2 double crochets. 1 and 2, and that counts as like a half a shell. And on the top of this shell, we are going to do a single crochet, and then in our single crochet here from our previous round, we're going to do a full shell, which is 6 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then again in the top for next shell, we do our single crochet to anchor this shell. And then in our next single crochet here, we'll do another shell. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we anchor in the top of the next shell for single crochet, and then we move on to our next shell. And you repeat this all the way across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and now anchor. Okay, so that's what the pattern looks like. It does get ruffly as these shells want to be pushed back a bit, so you end up with a bit of a 3D effect. And I will meet you when I get back over to here so I can tell you how to end and switch colors again. So I'll meet you. Okay, I have 1.5 shells left to go, so let's do those. We're working in the single crochet, doing 6 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and number 6. And then in the top of the shell, we do a single crochet, and then down here where we have our single crochet here, we are going to do 3 double crochets to create a half of a shell. 1, 2, and 3. So that ends yellow. I'm going to show you another way to change colors than how I did here. So my next color is blue. I'm still going to snip off here, but while this stays on the hook, I am going to go ahead and attach the blue. Sorry. You're basically just tying them together. There we go. And you want to scoot that knot as far down as you can make it. So as you can see, it's right there. And now you have this completely attached, and you don't have to tie the yellow off separately. You just have these two attached together. So we're going to go ahead and start our next row. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through for our first chain. And now we're going to flip our work. And working here in the top of this half of a shell, we're going to do a single crochet. So we need to stick our hook through, yarn over and pull through, and we have 2 loops like we're supposed to for a single crochet, and we're pulling through both. So that's basically the same as anchoring on the top of this shell that we did for the previous round. So working in this single crochet, we're going to start our first full shell for this row, which is 6 double crochets. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now we're going to anchor in the top of this yellow shell with a single crochet, and we're going to continue doing shells all the way across like we have been doing. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and number 6. We're going to anchor on the top of this shell again and do another shell. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And anchor. Okay. So you can see how this creates a wavy shell look. So when I get to the other end, I will meet you there. So just continue doing shells all the way across. Okay, I have 2 more shells left of this row before we turn and do the next row. So let's go ahead and do those shells. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to anchor in the top of this shell with a single crochet. And now we're at the end here with one more shell. I know it doesn't really look like a full one will fit there, but it does. So we'll make sure we go into the top of this shell, the single crochet that's there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, this here was our chain 3. So we have to go into the top of that chain with a single crochet. Okay, and now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to turn our work, and we're going to do 2 double crochets into the single crochet here. 1, 2, and then we're going to anchor into the top of this shell with a single crochet, and then we begin our shells in this next row like we've been doing. That's 3, 4, 5, and 6, and anchor on top of this shell with a single crochet. And you're going to continue doing shells all the way across, and I will meet you there at the end so that you can see one more time how to switch colors. Meet you there. Okay, I have 1.5 shells left to do for this row before we change colors. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. On the top, do our single crochet to anchor, and then down here where we previously joined in our single crochet, we are going to end with doing 3 double crochets in this single crochet spot for a half of the shell. There's 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to snip the yarn a bit and Next I'm doing pink. So I'm going to join like I did last time. Wire the two pieces together. And I tie a knot as close to that double crochet as possible. As close to the hook. Okay. And now I'm going to yarn over and pull through. And now I am going to chain one and turn the work. And in the top here, we just did our changeover. I am going to do a single crochet. And then we go down here to this single crochet and we begin our shell. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 double crochets. And then we go to the top of the blue shell to anchor with our single crochet. And we're ready to move on to our next shell. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm anchoring single crochet at the top of the next shell. And we're going to do that all the way across. And that's the pattern. You can do it all in one color. You can switch every two rows, every one row if you want. I like the effect of having 2 rows in one color and then switching. But if you did 1 row, you would have your next color here, and so you would end up having like 3 colors touching if you wanted that. When you're done, don't forget to tuck in your ends. I use a yarning needle for that. And I'll be doing a border when I'm actually done with the blanket. But for now, this video is finished. As far as content, I'll do a separate video on the border. So happy crocheting. I hope you have fun making this type of blanket. I know I am. Thanks for watching. Bye.